Okay, thank you for your patience. We're now ready to continue. I think the gentleman behind you was,
He can go ahead and go forward.
Okay.
Wait for somebody else. Yeah, let him cut.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you this evening. My name is Kenneth Vickers. I'm the president of the Wicomico County Volunteer Firefighter Association. Just have a couple quick points. First of all, I am in full support with President Joe Morris and Vice President Marty Scarson. Why the county council is not supporting us yet, I do not know. The entire county has, as far as the volunteer fire service, has stood behind us. We have jumped through many hoops. We are working towards it. We are set to meet our September 15th deadline. Also, on a note, the city is holding up the 508 funds for whatever reasons they are. I came before you once before and I said not funding these departments or doing things to hinder them is a dangerous precedent. This goes to show their mentality. If you don't think that this will come up again in the future, you're wrong. It will. I'm asking you, please support the Volunteer Station 13. We are asking to provide a service with the exception of the general funds that every other department gets, free of service. We are volunteers. We donate our time. We sacrifice from our families to provide for the citizens. Support us, please. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Dave Cooper. I've been a county resident for probably 34 of my 39 years in living. And I just want you guys to realize one simple thing. The volunteers here really want to help out. But one thing I also want you to consider is, I want all the volunteers in the room to stand up, please.
All of them out there. There's plenty in the hallway.
Okay? You guys come to our meetings. You ask for our support. We're asking for yours. Here's your voting staff. Make your decision, please.
Marty Scarson, Vice President of the Chiefs Association. Thank you for letting us speak, County Council. I've spoken many times in front of the council. The County Chiefs Association was given the task many years ago to be the policy and procedure and the facilitator of the fire and EMS service in this county. It's a serious business to us. We do it with a serious business intent. It didn't come lightly to us having to make the decisions on this Station 13, the move from one to out of the city. But we were tasked with it, and we looked at all the facts, looked at the money, looked at the districts involved, and came to a unanimous decision. Okay, that wasn't four companies withholding. It was a unanimous decision to not agree with the city-county agreement. I've sat on, I was president for the 2016 year, and now vice president. But we started this process a long time ago. I sat on the meetings with the consultants. I've sat in the meetings with the county council, and I've sat on the meetings with the county city agreement. I've sat at many meetings with the members of the county council. We didn't want this, but it's here. And as we all know, as Chief Beach has said in the past, that the city and county is divorcing. And it's just a matter of time before we have to pick up that district anyway. The figures that I come up with, the district that Station 1 will be handling, the total for fire and EMS is going to be approximately $369,000 with the pay-per-call that the city's going to be handling. If the volunteers would have handled that district, it would have been for cheaper than that price. Anyway, and it would have gave us an additional manpower, or it will give us the additional manpower equipment that this county needs and can use in the future. Because as of all things, we're looking to the future, I believe. I think that's what the county council would embrace, that we have to look to the future for the fire and EMS in this county. And that's what we're trying to do at a price that is reasonable. Now, there's been some questions. Yeah, heck. Joe, I can't bring it up. There were some questions about who gives the Chiefs Association the job or the right to take care of districts. Well, I believe it started in 2003, and we've got the minutes to prove that was given to us by the county executive at the time. Even though it's not in the charter, the Chiefs Association handles the business of this county when it comes to policy and procedure and district. And we've done that, and we continue to do it until it's taken from us. And we handle it very seriously, I believe. There's not a whole lot of fun and games with going to meetings every month and sorting through the policy of this county. I also want to reiterate that the meetings I've sat in, I want to rebut that there is no intention of anybody to do whatever with Powellville and Allen. I don't know where that's coming from, but that's not in any of the meetings I've been to. Even though they run less calls than some other companies, they're treated the same, and as far as I know, they will continue to be treated the same as every other company in this county. I don't know where that came from, but I'm rebutting that today. That is not in any meetings, hasn't been presented in anything that I've sat on. I also want to bring up, just as a side note, that there were some companies that brought their fire equipment in here to this county meeting, and they were ticketed by the city. And that's how petty that the city government is towards this whole deal. I know there's some there's a lot of things in the news that says that quotes from Mayor Day and the city council, but I can tell you it's uncalled for, in my opinion. Uncalled for and very unprofessional. The things that have been said about the Chiefs Association, the volunteer fire departments in this county, our county executive, and our county council. Thank you.
Good evening. Corey Polidor, Fire Chief, Station 13. I'm not going to talk to you and try to convince you of anything different. I mean, everybody speaks what they speak. All I'm here to say is that you have a group of individuals that want to improve public safety in Wicomico County. They're not looking to cut career staffing from the city of Salisbury. They're not looking to take any territory from Powellville. We've made that clear before, just to clarify, Miss Lynn. And I love you too, dear. She's such a sweetheart. We've never even made, the company's never made a statement that they wanted to take territory from Powellville or Fruitland or anybody else of that nature. The initial announcement in February, which this has just been a chapter book every month, and was to take over the territory that was already belonging to that company that was granted to them through the Chiefs Association. In negotiating with the Chiefs Association, going back and forth and determining what was best to resolve with, it came to what it is now, which is that area that County Executive Culver and Mayor Day worked out. Outside of our company, outside of the Fire Chiefs Association, that's what was worked on. Whatever happened at the signing of that meeting, it's irrelevant at this point because the fire service agreement is what it's showing right now, whether or not it's still the map is accurate or not. But this has never been a career volunteer thing. I've tried to clarify that many a times, even though others try to make it that it is. We all know the announcement was due to financial reasons, legal financial reasons, and their refusal to mediate. We've provided the council with all of that documentation, the emails and the letters between the two attorneys, the city attorney and our attorney. But these individuals have these 45 people have put their livelihood on the line here. They've lost business, lost friends, have issues at work going on because they want to improve public safety in this county. They're putting that all on the line so that you all can be safe as well. I push forward with what I believe in and what I truly believe in, and that is improving the public safety of this county. If you don't want to improve the public safety or you don't think we can help and do that, please tell us, because we don't want to waste the time of anybody else that's sitting in here. We don't want to waste your time. We don't want to run the electric bill up in this building because that's just going to cost me more taxes too. So we just need to know if the council supports improving the public safety here by having these additional people, regardless of territory or whatever may happen here. We just need to know. Because personally, I'm tired of having to deal with some of the backlash that we get from anonymous this person, anonymous that person. I'm tired of people coming to meetings trying to find that I'm guilty of doing something when I'm trying to improve the public safety without having to cost the taxpayers any additional money. Let us know, President. I mean, are we wasting your time? Thank you.
Thank you.
How you guys doing? My name is Vincent Jones. I'm a volunteer, Company 1, Station 13, formerly Station 1. I haven't been in the fire service long, right? And I'm sure 90% of people in here are firefighters, EMTs, paramedics. Their father's father was firefighters. Their mothers was probably firefighters, EMTs. But what I'm saying is I stayed with my chief and my brothers and sisters. And in this process, I lost my father and my grandma while being in the fire services. I hear people talking about the plaque outside. I wasn't here for that history. I'm here for this history. So if I have children, what history can I share with them that I live for? A fire service. Thank you.
Name's Chuck Foskey. On the budget meeting, when we were denied the funding, well, it wasn't presented, but I understand the addition was cut. Mr. Holloway said, let them operate a year without funding and let's see how they work.
Pardon me, what'd you say?
You said let them operate, give them a chance without funding, and if they make it, we'll see about it next year. We can't operate if we can't open the door. So you're not giving us a chance.
The budget didn't include you.
That's right, but we were talking about next year's budget.
Cut the budget.
The amendment that was made in the meeting to, I don't know what you said.
There's no process for an amended budget. That was put forward at that meeting, just as a clarification. There is no process in the county that allows for a budget amendment to be put forward once the original budget has been put before the council.
Well,
We'll explain it when we get our chance.
okay, I'll just, what happened that night, somebody got up and said, I make a motion that you amend.
Right, yeah.
I can't think of the name, addendum or something,
Yeah.
but that's all I'm asking. I have suffered in the news as well, in the blogs. My family has suffered after 140 years of faithful service to this county as volunteers. I've had my dead father spoken of. And I think, give us the chance. That's all we're asking. The apparatus is there. It's ready to pass inspection, sitting outside. We've worked like dogs on it. The second engine's ready to go be done. They're all through inspection and tagged in state of Maryland's emergency vehicles. We are recognized by Maryland State Firemen's Association. Not all fire departments in Salisbury at this time are. But all we want to do is see if that dog will hunt. Give us a chance. We're being cut off where we can't show you we can do it if we're not allowed. And this this fire service agreement was unanimously rejected by the leaders of the entire county chiefs, every fire department in Wicomico County. So there must be something wrong with it. These guys know what they're doing. If there's a storm tomorrow, you're not worried about the fire service because you know these guys are going to meet and handle it. That's all I have, and I appreciate your time, and I'd appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Seeing none, council comments. Councilman Dodd.
I'd like to thank everyone that is here tonight. We've heard a lot of different options, concerns, people expressing their views, and I think we all appreciate that. That's the country that we live in, and we're allowed to do that, so I appreciate it. The fact that everybody's standing here from the fire service, I appreciate that. We've got volunteers, we've got career guys, and we need both of them. There's no doubt, you can't deny it. We need the career guys as much as we need the volunteers. We've got a lot of volunteer companies out there, and I've gotten several phone calls. I'm glad there's some people from Allen and Powellville here, because one of their chiefs, I guess, sitting at a table with an elected official, and they said that, and this is for the record, that I and another council member, I'll let that council member speak for himself, wanted to cut funding to Allen and Powellville. That couldn't be any further from the truth. That is absolutely incorrect. And I was hoping they would send it back to the departments. I don't know if Ms. Mitchell was referring to me or not. I hope not.
No, because I didn't get a chance to talk to you, but on behalf of Colorado Volunteer Fire Company, we do thank you for that.
But I support every fire company. Although I have a district, I represent everybody in this county until time to, for an election. But I support everybody. There was also a discussion of cutting stations back. I don't know where that came from. I don't think this body here brought that up, or at least it wasn't in a meeting that I was sitting in, and I think you were referring to that. I don't know where that came from, but I don't think anybody here said that, so I don't think you'll ever hear us say that, so thank you for your service.
Councilman Kilmer?
I believe Larry, I wasn't going to say anything, but you mentioned it, and I believe my name might have been mentioned in that too. And I've talked to the guys in Allen and the women in Allen, and I'll reassure. I mean, I've been on the phone with Dave Berry a few times in the past week. I'll reassure Dave that I certainly have not had any intention of cutting funding for Allen. I'm not even sure the council could cut for an individual fire department. And I've never heard that Allen was going to be closed. I don't think the county has the authority to close fire stations. I think that's so. The problem is you got all these rumors, coming around, and you guys know that. I mean, everybody's trashed, whether it's on the blogs or anonymously here. There's rumors saying we heard this or that, and it's disgraceful because, regardless of your opinion on the Station 1/Station 13 issue, everybody's honorable. Everybody's trying to serve the public, and that, how this situation gets worked out is. It's a divisive issue, but it's shameful that anyone would bash personally folks that are putting their lives on the line to make public safety better. So no one should be doing that, and I'm sorry you guys are going through that. We get bashed all the times too, so we know how you feel. You guys just didn't sign up for it. We did. We were elected. That comes with the territory, getting bashed anonymously. You guys didn't, so sorry about that. And I just want to reassure Alan. You guys know where I stand, and you guys have my number. If there's any problems, you know how to get hold of me. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, listen.
Joe?
The first thing I'd like to say is I'm a little disappointed at some of the statements that were made tonight about the county council not supporting the fire service. Since 2006, I've been through a lot of budgets. We went through the recession. There's a lot of tough decisions had to be made. The prior county executive, anybody that was serving on this council, supported the fire services. Now, about what's going on now, this fire service agreement was brought to us by the county executive's office. They were really, I don't know what word to use, they said it was a great agreement. They'd worked it out with the city. They encouraged the county council to pass it. Station 13/Station 1 wasn't included in it at all. Not at all. So for you guys to get up here and blame us for not supporting the fire service, you know, it wasn't brought to us. Nobody brought it to us in the budget or in the agreement. Okay? So we didn't have a chance to support you. And I can tell you something, you know, we support the fire services, everybody here and all the council members before. And it angers me for you all to say that. Now, Mr. Culver stood up and said, you know, I'm going to make an amendment to the budget, give you $400,000 to get started. There's no mechanism for that. We couldn't do it. There's nothing in the charter that allows us to do it. He didn't realize that. I mean, I'm not going to say he was wrong in trying to do it, but he just didn't realize it. So it didn't happen. So now we got an agreement that's been signed and agreed to. You know, the lawyers looked it over. Wayne came to us and said it's a great deal. So we went along with it. Now, if it can be changed, fine. I don't know if it can or not. I guess that's up to the lawyers. But don't sit there and blame this council for not supporting the fire service, because that's not right. Thank you. That's all I got to say.
I just want to reiterate what Joe just said for you guys to get up and blame us and say we don't support us. With that agreement, we weren't in none of the meetings. Unlike with the city council, we weren't in none of the meetings. It's like Joe said, it was brought to us at the end for us to sign for it. Said it was a good deal, go for it. For us to say that we don't support you guys, you can't say that because we never had the opportunity. So, you know, if they can rewrite the agreement or something, maybe that'll happen. But as far as us not supporting you, you can't say that. I was state trooper for 20 years. I depended on volunteers. When I had an accident, I prayed that the volunteers beat me there because I didn't want to deal with it. So I dearly love the volunteers. I live in an area, I got a Salisbury address, Vote in Delmar, and Hebron comes to my house with fire. So, you know, I dearly love you guys. So that's all I have.
You can serve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Under President,
I got
yeah,
one more
go ahead,
thing,
Joe.
John.
Sure.
Concerning the Powellville Allen issue, you know, rumors get started. Lynn called me. I told her, I said, you know, Bob and myself's not agreeing on everything along, but I don't think Bob has ever said that. I know nobody on this council's ever mentioned it, and it's not the intentions of this council to be cutting the fire service. I don't know what's going on with the monies from the city. I think we need to look into that and find out what's going on. But as far as those rumors, I think you can rest assured that there's no truth to them. So
So we have a reference next month if you like.
we'll be there, hopefully. My wife don't make me work that morning.
I'll probably reiterate a lot of what Joe has said and what Ernie has touched on. This council finds the volunteers to be invaluable. Fire service, EMS, would be unsustainable in Wicomico County if it weren't for the volunteers, and we know that. I remember the first year that I came back into office, and I was disappointed to begin with that the fire service companies weren't given a seat at the table for initial discussions to request increases in budgets. So when it came to the council, no increases had been presented. The council's hands are tied. As you know, we can't add to the budget, we can only subtract. So I thought that was a bit surprising. I'm glad to see that a lot of changes have come in this last budget where a lot, more funding has been put forward. But getting back to the circumstances where, the volunteers feel as this county council doesn't support them, it really has nothing to do with the support. The support is there. It's always been there. I've been told over and over again that it's, the county council is siding with the city. We're not siding with the city. It has nothing to do with the city. It has to do with basically what this council's role is in government. And our role is pretty much to try to look at the circumstances and to say, okay, what is needed in Wicomico County? What's been asked for here? This is a matter really of logistics. It's a matter of budgets. It was suggested earlier as far as having any business sense. Well, as Joe had suggested, the fire service agreement was brought to our table to approve. In doing so, we were told at that time that this is the greatest, should have known we'd hear that. We were told this is a great deal. Let's not try to make it too complicated. Let's get it approved. The county attorney, with the instruction through Bob Culver, was instructed to put the contract together, to write the contract. County staff were instructed to put the maps together. And that was put on the table to this council with a fire service agreement. I was somewhat surprised that the signatures on the fire service agreement involved only county and city. I would have thought representatives from the Fire Chiefs Association would also have a signature on that fire service agreement, but it was not there. So when I think, and not to defend Jake Day, but when Jake Day suggested that you were irrelevant, I think he was trying to say, because of the way that the fire service agreement was written, the entities that can change it, and the only individuals that can change it are county and city, because those are the signatures on the fire service agreement. But getting back to what I said before, we're talking about budgets. Bob had proposed it would cost $408,000 more to service Station 13. So what do we have to ask? We have to say, okay, why are we going to spend $408,000 of taxpayers' dollars? That's our responsibility. Why are we going to spend the $408,000? What exactly is the budget? I don't think we've really seen a substantial budget that in the long term, in 3 to 5 to 10 years, explains very clearly as to what the cost would be for Wicomico County. Not only that, but we were just handed a fire service agreement that said, hey, we're saving hundreds of thousands of dollars with this fire service agreement because the city of Salisbury is going to service this area. So that's what we were told, and that's what the contract says. So I don't understand doing an about face and then saying, well, now we're going to spend $408,000 and we're going to have another fire station here, which was in direct conflict of the year or 2 years of evaluation for the fire service agreement which came to our table. The only other thing I would say is that this map, there's all this discussion about this map, and Jake Day promised that he would do this. Well, I don't doubt the fact that, yeah, there were discussions, I'm sure, that there would be an outlined area outside of the bypass, and from what I understand, there was a map that was drawn with a magic marker establishing where that was. But whether or not that discussion was held, whether there were emails exchanged, has absolutely nothing to do with what was finally put in the fire service agreement. And that is what we are bound by. In Willard's one night, Bob had made the comment to Willard's that the fire service agreement map had this dotted line, this black outline. And I was there and I was shocked because I was unaware of it. And I asked for this map. The very next day I went into the office and said, where's this map you're talking about with the fire service agreement that separates the territory between the inside of the bypass and outside the bypass? I never saw it for like 3 months. So it was not part of the fire service agreement. So whether or not they had the discussions, whether or not there were all these exchanges, no matter how things transpired, in the end game, when the fire service agreement was signed, there was no territory designated outside of the bypass for Station 13. And that is what this council has to deal with. We certainly would like to find a home for, I thought that when the airport first came up, I thought, hey, that could be a solution for everything. We can put these guys at the airport. I'm not quite sure where we are. That's why we're having a work session tonight, because we're really trying to separate everything out and find out what the heck is going on. Because to change the data entry at the 911 center in direct conflict to a fire service agreement, I think it's foolish. I think everyone in this room has been given false hope as to what has been laid out. and where we're headed. And it isn't because this council doesn't like anyone in this room. We think every one of you guys are great, but we know what we've been bound by, and that is a fire service agreement that was signed and approved, was it a year ago? Months ago. So I just want you to keep that in mind. Those are the circumstances that we've been dealt in April. Those are the cards we've been dealt. Those are the circumstances that we're bound by. And I, for the life of me, don't know how we're going to get out from under it, because that is the deal that was made. That's what was brought before this council and approved by this council as well as the city of Salisbury.
These folks who've been standing up for a long time, there's a lot of empty seats over here if you all want to sit down. Okay.
The only other topic I would address tonight is the marker. I have mixed emotions about the marker. I feel, as was suggested earlier, that there seems to be some sense of hysteria across the country about this. I don't think we're in a racist society, as you're hearing so much in the news. Removing the marker can, I think, create racial divisiveness. I understand he was a bad general. Ironically, he probably killed more white soldiers than black soldiers. But the situation, I think, as the rabbi said, was, how far is far enough? I thought it was a very interesting comparison when he mentioned the fact that Martin Luther King was not in favor of gay relationships, did not support gay relationships, and that he felt, he shouldn't be ostracized because of that. That was his opinion. This council represents the entire county. As mostly charged as this topic is, and as many people who spoke tonight, there are also a lot of people who do not want this removed. It was mentioned that there were 300 signatures given to the council. Over 100 of those signatures didn't live in Wicomico County. Some of those individuals lived in Canada. Some lived in Hawaii. Some lived in Colorado. The actual signatures that we received for individuals in the community that want the marker removed total 13 actual signatures, which is usually what you go by, where you look at the signature, you look at the address, and then you make a decision based on that. So again, that being the case, we've also been informed that those individuals that would like to see the marker stay, there's a greater number of individuals who have signed up, and it's internet signatures is how it's done. But with the 300 signatures that were originally presented to the council, the group that wants to keep the marker had many, many more than 300 signatures. So what does the council do? We have to make some type of a balanced decision. So I have to say that the only thing I could tell you right now, we had said before, we're not exactly sure where the authority lies. The one thing I would like to see this group do, they suggested they were going to put markers up or plaques up for the lynching that occurred. I would much rather encourage this group to put up a marker for Frederick Douglass, because I didn't know that Frederick Douglass spent 2 hours talking at the courthouse downtown. And I think that is very, very important. And there are markers all across the country that are there specifically to remind us of our African-American heritage. And I think that it belongs in Wicomico County. That to me is a very historical moment. And I certainly would reiterate that I wish the group that is going to so much trouble and causing so much divisiveness to remove one marker would maybe spend the time to promote placing a new marker on the courthouse, and we go from there. So I apologize for being so lengthy, but it had to be off the cuff, and that tends to drag on sometimes. That being said, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Before you do that,
Yes.
I'd like to make a couple of announcements as changes to the agenda. As mentioned earlier, the Personnel Manual, Chapter 14, is being postponed to September the 19th. We are also going to reschedule the countywide water, sewer, and stormwater management update, as well as the council appointments to boards. The first work session will be the fire service agreement work session, and then we will have the preference for local businesses and county procurement.
Thank you, Ms. Surley. Entertain a motion to adjourn to go into open work session, followed by convening as the Urban Services Commission, to then
So
be
moved.
followed by reconvening it as the Wicomico County Council in closed session. It's a
So
mouthful.
moved.
Second. All those in favor? Opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all for coming. Yes. I'm going to take a 5-minute recess.